Hello and welcome to an On the Other Hoof Christmas Spectacular. There's nothing much else spectacular about it. It's just the same old On the Other Hoof. But me and Michael have Santa hats on, which I suppose might spread some festive cheer. We're covering the Boxing Day cards today, which I think there's 12 at my last count, but there may have been a couple more hundred of meetings added for Boxing Day. So we've got plenty of racing to get through. We've only got 5 to cover on Channel 4. And also at the end, we're going to have a Secret Santa that we did last year, which should be a bit of fun. Hopefully, as long as no one's got a Barbie doll this year, Adam.
I hate you. The promising thing this year is that I've got 2 presents, so if one of them I don't like, maybe the other one I'll like. Because actually I just got yeah. I hope I like what I've got.
As always, I'm Luke Elder. I'm joined by the reliable 2 of Adam Webb and Callum Liddell, and then the unreliable Michael Andrews, who turns up whenever he wants, really.
It's the way to be. They get the best of both worlds.
I don't think you have it good in either world, in fairness, but you're going for a sort of retro Santa Frenchman style today, aren't you?
Well, last year I was a Christmas tree because I couldn't find a Christmas hat. So I just had like bauble earrings and stuff. They weren't actually earrings; they were just baubles that I got off the Christmas tree and like hung to my ears. But this year I've gone with like the Christmas hat, like looking pretty stylish, like a hipster. And then just adding like the French, like English. I think they're French glasses. Yeah. Just to kind of like give you a bit of like extra sass.
Like.
Like.
As always, you can tweet into On the Other Hoof. At On the Other Hoof is our Twitter tag. You can tell us what you fancy for Boxing Day, any questions you have regarding Boxing Day or any of the Christmas races, for that matter. And also, we'd love to hear from you. If you got any of us as a Secret Santa throughout, either at work, either in your family, if you do that, but if you got any of us on the panel for Secret Santa, we'd love to hear what you would get us, and be as abusive as you can, really. That nice might make it a bit funnier. Yeah, exactly. You might give Adam a nap winner, per se, because he's awful at that. I've been suggested that I eat humble pie after Vibrato Valta, winning the Henry VIII Novices Chase at Sandown, which... yeah, fair enough. I had that one coming. One day he was going to make me look stupid, and that fair enough he did. But we're going to start off with the 125 at Kempton on Boxing Day. The William Hill, download the app. Novices Limited Handicap Chase. Great company as well, William Hill. Brilliant company. Over 2 mile 4 and 110 yards. I might get a bit of a price for that. Doubt it. River Maig is back over fences. 5-1 over. Nicky Henson's yard has been surrounded by bad press recently. River Maig is one that has made it back to the track, though, Adam. Any sort of chance off top weight?
Not for me. I thought his chase debut, to be fair, I thought he should have been winning that race, although he did bump into the rival in Tango Julie, who looked a fairly decent recruit to chasing.
You're right there, Valley Rater. Sorry.
Shut up. Merry Christmas and far humble. You know, the one that I really like, and because most of the field for me have question marks, so I'm really keen on Stellar Notion, who won nicely on chase debut at Leicester. Yeah, his main rival fell at the last, but I felt he had plenty more in hand that day, and the step up in trip here I think would definitely suit him, and he could potentially still be a very well handicapped horse. One that I liked as a handicapper over hurdles, and I was waiting for him to step up in trip over hurdles, was Cat Gary, but he's here, and I'm kind of hoping he does an Urban de Civila where he finishes 3rd or 4th here, and then ends up in the Martin Pipe come March, and it'd be very interesting horse and something like that. But then again, he does look a chaser. I thought last year he looked a bit on the small side, but he's definitely grown into himself this year, and I can see him going well. Knockhouse, I think, wants further. The Sky Farmer did not jump well at all on debut, and he's best watched, but I think Stellar Notion can start off, hopefully, the video with a winner, so...
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, unfortunately, on Stellar Notion. I've had him down as a chaser for all of last season, really, and I thought he was an absolute good thing against an ace last year, and then an ace has turned out to be quite good in this sphere, and he's even won over fences since. But I like the way he did it on debut over fences at Leicester, as Adam said, with his main rival coming down late on. Up to 2.5, I think, is going to be a big positive for him. 7-2 isn't much of a price. You're not really getting too much value there. Saying that, I think he could just be the best handicapped horse in the race. And another one I wanted to mention is Knockhouse, who made a really nice chasing debut at Fakenham, jumped really well that day. Then got thrown in at the deep end against King's Palace and was beaten out of sight. That I don't think he's as good as that, and I think he proved it that day. But for a mark of 133 with AP in the saddle, I think he could still be competitive. And this sort of trip I would say is the right kind. I just got a feeling he might run well. Matt Wynn agrees with me. Matt, tweet us at On The Other Hoof, not my account. Just say. Otherwise your tweets will not get read out, except for that one because I saw it as a notification. So tweet us at On The Other Hoof if you're tweeting in. But yeah, Knockhouse I think has got a fantastic chance back in handicap company for the first time over fences in handicap company. Callum, last year you napped Western Warhorse in this, and was it this? Yeah, it was this race, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
How did that one go, buddy?
Yeah, it was good. You know, at least the horse kind of showed that he was quite well handicapped off that mark, but decided to have other plans on that day. But never mind. But yeah, it's the kind of horse, Western Warhorse, that sort of horse coming in over hurdles, smart hurdles form, going chasing now. That get plotted for this race. Cat Gary's the one of that ilk this year. I've just been really I just don't think he's run very well at all twice this year, and there's not really been that many excuses. And he looked pretty fit on his first start at Aintree and was poor, and they had no explanation for it. So he's one I'd probably avoid on chasing debut. I think the market's got it spot on. Stellar Notion, impressive on debut. Knockhouse, I think, is the one for me, to be honest. I think this test will be perfect for him. Impressed by how well he jumps at Fakenham on a stiff track round Fakenham around 2 mile 5.5 on decent ground. I think this will be perfect for him around here. If he jumps and runs like he did that day, I think he's the one to beat.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put anyone off backing Knockhouse in that. Michael, your fancy?
Yeah, I was really keen on this horse at Cheltenham when he finished behind King's Palace. I'm talking about Knockhouse, of course. After that Fakenham win, and just didn't really. I don't think he stayed that day, so I'm surprised Adam said that. I think back down to this trip will suit him a lot better. Back down to the same. All of his wins have come over this distance. Oh no, bar his hunting success in 2013. So I think he's got a really good chance. Obviously, I think the horses he's against last time were a lot better, and he faded after about this distance. So I'm thinking this is about right. Who did he beat? He was behind King's Palace and also Sausalito Sausage, as I like to call him. And I think this is about his level, so I'd be very interested in Knockhouse. Of the others, it's a bit of a strange race, actually. I think you could have a few winners out of this in the future, but I'm not sure if they're all going to be at their best today. I agree with the whole Cat Gary complex, and I'm not sure about the River Meg and the Nicky Henderson issues at the moment, but for me, I'm really keen on Knockhouse, and I'm surprised two of you are as well, because I know last time. But I agree, this is much more level than the Cheltenham race.
Yeah, I think last time he was just a little bit out of his depth, and again the distance is.
It was
a bit of a worry.
This is better.
Yeah, I mean, always entitled to after making such an impressive chase debut. I mean, it's the kind of horse who could be anything, but this is his level, like you say. Moving on to the next, we're going up to Wetherby now for the 145. It's the William Hill Roland Merrick handicap chase, a grade 3 over 3 miles and a furlong. We have a past winner of the race in this, in Cape Tribulation, from Malcolm Jefferson and Brian Hughes. But 13-2. It's been fairly well supported this week since the declarations came out. I know me and Adam had quite a long conversation about Cape Tribulation and his performance last time. Surely, Adam, this ground's possibly a bit on the fast side for him.
I think he goes in it. Faster ground for me is not an issue. He's on the same mark as he was when he won this 2 years ago, and the improvement he showed from winning this race 2 years ago, he went on to be 5th in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Now, if he can reproduce that, and I said this last time as well, actually not on the video, but I said if he can reproduce a run like that, he'd be very interesting. Now, the ride at Cheltenham, I'm not going to say very much about it, because all I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this with, like this, interesting. That's all I'm going to say on that. I think he is on a winnable mark, but the one to beat, obviously, and it's a horse that, if you were watching the other day, I said some very nasty things about in Broadway Buffalo, who I said couldn't jump, and yet at Haydock he jumped the best he's ever jumped. Given brilliant ride by Conor O'Farrell, he just held him up, they let him go too quick in front, and I was shocked at how quick they went in that race, but he's got to go in again with a winning chance. He's only got a £6 penalty, and I think he only went up £6 as well for his win as well. So I think he's got a huge chance. Although if you want a bet in a race, I'd say Cape Tribulation. He's in each way price for me anyway. I think 13-2. I'd back him each way. So And it's not a bad renewal. I will say that as well. I think, we know what Cedric Blair's going to do. I thought Sam Bailey couldn't give him a peach in the Grand Theft, and he was never going to go past. Corrin Wood is interesting, but I'm not sure with him. I thought he ran really well on his return. He needed it, but it'd be interesting to see how he goes, because the rest of the season I think will be depending on this run. I don't think he will make up into a Gold Cup horse, but where they want to go with him, I don't know. I think Broadway Buffalo is your likely winner, but I'm not going to put him up as a selection. I'm going to put Cape Tribulation up each way. I know he's the second favourite, but I think he's been laid out for this.
Yeah, but after the Cheltenham run, initially I was interested in him for the Welsh National on softer ground, but that was never really taken into consideration, apparently.
Wasn't even entered.
Yeah, well, like Adam said, if we were our good friends there at the Final Furlong podcast, we'd have Cape Tribulation at Cheltenham down as the interesting ride of the week. But
there'll be lots of beeps as well.
Yeah, we don't have. Well, we're not going to steal that segment, but he would be a strong candidate for winning that award. But he was never put into the race, really, whether it was through the horse not being fast enough, because his jumping was a little bit slow at times, let's face it, but he should be more than good enough to be able to at least get competitive off that mark in that kind of race on ground that he loves. One I'm interested in is Vintage Star. Obviously, the Yard won this last year with Cloudy 2. He's been slipping down the handicap lately, and there's only £4 above his last winning mark. And he ended last season poorly when he fell at Cheltenham, and then he got pulled up in the Grand National, but they're both very hard tasks. So at Cheltenham was behind Holywell, so that was a strong race in itself. But this season he's just been a rejuvenated horse. He finished second first time out at Carlisle to Shut the Front Door, who we all know the Irish Grand National winner last year, and is now possibly being touted for a Gold Cup crack this season. Then last time out was third behind Hey Big Spender up at Newcastle. He's been lowered a further pound for that, down to 141, so like I say, £4 above his last winning mark. But Cheek Pieces are fitted for the first time today, and the last twice he just raced a little bit lazily. He's looked like a dour stayer, but James Reevely was on board last time, just had to be sort of all motion and all action from a long way out, and he was just sort of a sitting duck at Newcastle, and then he soundly beat Broadway Buffalo that day, who reopposes today, but his jumping seems to be sorted out last week. The ground won't be a problem for either of them, really. I just prefer, at the prices, I'd prefer Vintage Star at 7-1 in the hope that the Cheek Pieces first time can find a bit of improvement in him, and if they do, then he could be a pretty decent horse this season, and there could be a lot of scope from the handicap mark of 141 as suggested. And you have to also take into account that the Sue Smith Yard earlier on in the season, when he was running well, they weren't in good form whatsoever, and winners were very hard to come by, but they are now in form, and they are amongst the winners very recently. So Vintage Star, for me, it could be an interesting one. Cape Tribulation, you have to take into account that this race must have been in mind for him. Obviously a past winner 2 seasons ago, so they'd quite like to win this one again, I would imagine. But Vintage Star for me. Callum, you are with Broadway Buffalo, I believe.
Yeah, he's not much of a price. I wouldn't say he's necessarily valued at 5-2 in a race. I think is pretty good, to be honest. Pretty good renewal of the role of Merrick. But yeah, Broadway Buffalo, I think the penny's really dropping with him over fences. It's taken a while. I mean, if you've not watched his debut over fences here at Wetherby early in the season, then I think you should go watch it, because it was absolutely horrendous. But he's got used to it, and last time was very impressive. More held up, just came there and absolutely bolted in. And I think if he can back up a £6 penalty, he's still only £5, still £5 lower than what he is over hurdles as well. He won off this mark over hurdles at Haydock. Yeah, I think he's pretty bomb-proof as favourite, but I can give plenty of other chances. Vintage Star, the cheap pieces have to make a difference, because I think you're right in saying that he's really racing snatches of late. $2 I think's got a pretty solid chance back over regulation fences. Cape Tribulation, the ground should be okay. I think it probably wants it a bit softer, but I think quite a lot of these want it softer. Certainly would say that would knock a handle. I would fancy if it was heavy, but with the ground as it is, I'm more against him. Certainly against Corrin Wood as well. But Broadway Buffalo, I'm not going to put him up as a strong selection, because I don't think the price is great, but I think he wins.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'd be hard to discount him, but the price is sort of on the back of one very good run, and maybe a bit hard to trust. Michael, Broadway Buffalo for you, or?
No, I must admit I haven't seen as defeat of Toblerone at the weekend, so I can't really comment on how he's improved. But the horse I imagined from when he ran early on in the season is not a horse I think capable of winning. So I'm assuming his progress in his last
Yes.
pretty stupendous. Anyway, at that price, and considering I have this other image of Broadway Buffalo in the back of my mind, I'd avoid him and go somewhere between Cape Tribulation and Corrin Wood. Corrin Wood, I think it was really hard not to be impressed with when that one won, defeating Black Thunder at Warwick last year. Was really impressive there, and then ran not very well at the end of the day, I suppose, when beaten by O'Phalen's Boy in the RSA. Needed a return to action behind Black Thunder next time. Black Thunder's developing into a really nice horse, and I think he's gone a bit under the radar here. I think at the end of the day, this could be the best horse who's got the most amount of improvement in him. Okay, carries top weight, and his run last time was, it was okay, but he has won after a layoff before, although I'd say that was a bit more competitive than it had been previous. Cape Tribulation, yeah, I was there that day, and I think me and Adam decided that he was never really put into a race whatsoever. And as a result, I think you're right, he could definitely be being aimed at this race precisely considering he won it a couple of years back. Although it's the top two, I just think they're the best two in the race. Broadway Buffalo obviously gets £12 from the top one and 7 from Cape Tribulation. I think the others are kind of good horses, but there's not much else there. Cape Tribulation at his best should win this. Corrin Wood, I think, has got more to come, especially if he jumps well, gets out in front. Although another issue that you could have is that he seems to run his best races in only small field events. That's another worry I would have with him. But I will go narrowly with Corrin Wood just on the prices.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Corrin Wood's a horse that I've always found it hard to beat with. I just thought he was a bit on the slow side, which may be what's needed in this kind of race. But fair enough. Corrin Wood for Michael. Moving on to a race that we dominated last year. I'm not going to lie, we absolutely dominated this. The 2 o'clock at Kempton, the Corte Star Novices Chase, or as we would know it, the Feltham. It's a Grade 1 novice chase over 3 miles. It's got quite a strong enough turnout this year. Safir de Rue is your very short price favourite, Paul Nicholls. Virac's also in there. It's a horse that, if you've been watching previously, Adam is a big fan of. Coney who a couple of seasons ago looked over the world at his feet before injury struck. Creepy, who made a very strong chasing debut. Carrick Moore, who seems to just be about putting it together now. Sausalito Sunrise, who's been tipped to the top. And Warden Hill, who's a live outsider, if anything. We all sort of selected Anacotti last year when he won at 12-1, but when we tipped, it was 20-1. And Callum, what happened, mate?
Yeah, don't. Just don't.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the worst decisions of my life. Like, looking back at how slow that horse is. Oh, what an awful race that was.
Oh my God. It wasn't the best.
What's the best is being polite, I'd say.
Well, if you guys weren't watching
at least we've got, honestly, I think every horse in this race would have won it last year. I'm not joking.
That is a good point.
It's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. But last year we did put tip of Anacotti, and we were going to put an On the Other Hoof nap up, which we will be doing later on in the show. And Callum decides it's a great idea to go, let's just do the reverse forecast with just a par in there. And the rest is history, as they say. But me and Callum do agree on the short price favourite, who's also trained by Paul Nicholls this year, and Safir de Rue, my friend.
Yeah, we're a big fan of this horse, and rightly so. He just looks a serious acquisition to chasing, really. I mean, he was a brilliant herder last year, and he really caught my eye. Firstly, when he won at Sandown over hurdles and absolutely bolted up, and then won the Lanzarote as well, and bit of a mishap on his first start at Newbury, but jumped perfectly last time out, made no mistake, and yeah, I can't see him beat tomorrow on Boxing Day. I just don't think the rest of them in his parish. I just think he's destined for stardom. He's one of the most exciting horses I can think of over fences at the moment, and yeah, I'm sure Adam will give a good mention to Virac. I think he'll go quite nicely. Coney Gray on a speed track, I don't know if he's going to be seen to best effect quite here. Probably similar to Carrick Moore, but they've both done pretty well in winning similar enough races at Newbury. But that Creepy, I think if his jumping holds up this time, I think he could go quite nicely. But yeah, I'd be really surprised if Safir Daru gets beaten. Again, I'm going to go for a favourite, but I just can't see past him, and there's nothing I have any real conviction about standing out of the rest. So for a forecast, so Safir Daru, unfortunately, straight off.
This year he goes for the win only, and it'll come second. And
Warden Hill comes flying past.
Power packed under AP. French Santa, we'll come to you now.
That's you, Michael.
Right. Sorry. Sorry, I was just trying to work out who's Secret Santa. Yeah, I think
it's out yet.
No, I actually haven't. I've worked out 2, obviously, but I just couldn't work out who's got me. I know who it's between. There's only 2 people it can be. But yeah, I haven't decided. Yeah, I think the market's got it right, to be honest. I think Connie Gray's a really nice prospect for this year. Shame that one missed last year, but Safir Daru should win this. I do find it so funny. About this time last year, maybe just earlier on. I think it was about this time last year. I know Adam's already got a smile on his face because he knows exactly what I'm going to say. Adam had basically given up on this horse because he kept backing it, and it was like, oh no, I'm just not going to back it. And then I think you said you didn't tip it in the video, but you actually did back it at Kempton.
Yeah, I admitted afterwards I did, yeah.
And ever since that, pretty much become a bit of a gold mine. So yeah, I think he's got a really good chance. More than a really good chance. I think he should win this. And there are some really nice horses, but I think Safir Daru should have the measure. And I think, unlike last year, we'll see plenty of winners come out of this.
Yeah, you'd hope so. This looks like a much stronger event than last season. I'm completely with you guys on Safir Daru. Me and Callum said, big fans of the horse. We were sitting in our house a couple of weeks ago, and we just both said to each other that Safir Daru is a cracking price for the JLT at 14-1, and both backed him there and then. So we're hoping he gets a Grade 1 company over fences. I think it'll be his first Grade 1 win as well. Tomorrow, but steps up to 3 miles for the first time, which isn't too much of a worry if you were listening to Paul Nicholls' comments last week or 2 weeks ago when he said that they're aiming for the 2016 Gold Cup and then working backwards from there. So I still think he, as a novice, he'd be better suited to 2.5 miles. I think, as Callum said to me off air, that he's almost too good for an RSA, which I completely agree with at that point. It's a weird one to say, but I do completely agree with that. His unseating at Newbury was an odd one. It was just through lack of chasing experience, really. It was a very novice mistake, and then he just didn't get his back legs down. He kicked out instead of putting them down. If you watch the Racing UK replay of the slow motion afterwards, and he just didn't really know how to get himself out of trouble. It was very much like under So. He hadn't done it before, and he didn't know how to get out of it, and in the end he just ended up crumpling, and Sam stood no chance. But he jumped very well at Exeter when winning under Nick Schofield 21 days ago, and he really should be up to winning this. Of the rest, it would be interesting to see Creepy take Coney on at the front and see if Coney's got the speed to match Creepy in that front. Creepy jumped very well on his chase debut, and then fell last time out, but he jumped brilliantly around Chepstow. Connor Schumacher, I think, is a fantastic jockey booking, as Ian Popham's only just coming back from injury. He's elsewhere on Boxing Day. I can't remember exactly where he is, but I think Connor Schumacher's a jockey. He well deserves a chance on a Grade 1 ride. Coney, though, if this does turn into a stamina test, then he could be the one to benefit from that. However, saying that, I think Safir Daru could just be absolutely streets ahead of these, especially on his hurdles form he is. It's unoriginal, but a 5-4, I think Safir Daru is one of the bets of Boxing Day. And one of his biggest fans now, Adam, you're surely with Safir Daru, right?
I am with Safir Daru. By the way, whilst I'm talking now, if you can hear the dog barking, it's tea time for her, and she gets it. And the whole street has to know it's tea time. Safir Daru, well, where do we start with him? Basically, at the beginning of last season, I thought he was a very well handicapped horse over hurdles. Julie backed him at Newbury, he finished 4th. I then left him at Sandown thinking it had come too soon, but it turns out he needs a run to get him ready. And you can imagine my face stood with Callum at Aintree as Callum's going, that's going to hack up. And I'm like, oh no, I meant to back that. I did the end at Kempton. I was against him because I thought the hike in the weights was a bit too much, but then the price he was just silly. And he then went on and backed up on a Welsh champion. You can forget the national spirit. his chase debut, he jumped well up until he came down, and then at Exeter, it was like he was on springs. It was seriously, I was sat afterwards, and my face hit the floor at how impressed I was. I knew he was a good horse, but I was just so impressed. Kempton's a track that I think would be absolutely fine for him at over 3 miles. He's not like Just a Par exactly. I mean, Just a Par is a horse that wants 6 miles. Sapphire is definitely not that type of horse. I also agree with the comments that he's too good for an RSA. He doesn't remind me of Denman. Denman was a big brute who would take an RSA. I mean, I know Corto wasn't considered at 3 miler at that point, but if Corto had been considered for the RSA, I'd have said no to him. He it feels weird to say it, but he reminds me of Corto Star in a way.
Yeah,
in
I
the way
agree with that.
how classy he is. And he probably would even have the pace to win over 2 miles. That's the thing. I always think about Corto as the fact he could win over 2, 2.5, and 3, and I can see Sapphire the Rub being a completely similar horse to that. And I agree that the JLT, if he wins tomorrow, they should go for that race and not the RSA. Talking of the RSA, I hope Virac chases him home for my RSA. I think he'd be suited to it, personally. He's been impressive on his 3 starts. This is obviously another step up, but I think he will not disgrace himself tomorrow. I'm going to put these together. Coney Gree, Salsleeter, Sunrise, and Carrigmore, I think, are stayers, and I don't think Kempton will suit any of them. Carrigmore will prefer going right-handed. He jumped really well at Newbury, and I was pleased to see him do that because he promised so much over hurdles, and he was a bit of a disappointment. And Noel Feely is an excellent jockey booking as well. I mean, he rode him last time out and did very well to stay on him because the saddle flipped, I think, after the second fence. Creepy could run a big race with same connection, well, not the exact same connections as last year. I mean, Martin Keithley trained Anna Coffey, and he trains Creepy again. The better ground will help him, and Warden Hill won nicely, but he was left on his own last time out, and I think he could be overfaced here. But yeah, I think Sapphire the Real wins easily, and hopefully Virac chases him home for that for the RSA bet.
Yeah, so clean sweep for Sapphire de Rue, then, like I say, I do think he is one of the best bets on
Can
Boxing Day.
Make one quick point, quickly. The Fred Winter he ran in, Paul Nicholls ran 3 horses in that race. And you look at the horses he ran Sapphire de Rue, Pity Zig, and Cad de Burley. You look at them 3 now, and look at what they've achieved since then. How well handicapped were they in that race? And Flaxton Flair absolutely bolted up.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Pity Zig, by the way, Callum, in the video. I'm really impressed with him now.
Yeah, he looks like a horse that's just gone stepped up and tripped.
Yeah.
And that'll be his trip, I think. Moving on to the next at Kempton, the 2:35, the WilliamHill.com Christmas Hurdle, a Grade 1 over 2 miles. Adam was alluding to Sapphire de Rue being able to win over 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and 3 miles. We have a horse here that has won at all of them distances last season. As a novice, we have Faheen, who I don't think I'm out of place in saying is one of the most exciting horses in training. He's 2-5 to land his first Grade 1 out of novice company over 2 miles, and surely it's just a case of him turning up, Michael.
Yeah, I can't really see past him. I think it's more important to see who comes second, really. Sign of a Victory, format of Ziad. He's become a stable start this season after his really impressive success at Ascot, beating Dawalan, who's obviously come out and won at Aintree since. Irving was beaten by Purple Bay when he fell, but there's an argument there. Would he have won? Would he have not? I think Purple Bay was a horse I really followed when he was really frustrating a couple of seasons back, and now he seems to have come into his purple patch as such, if you'll pardon the pun. Sergeant Reckless and Blue Heron are the 2 I'd take out of it, but I think it's a bit of a toss-up between Irving, Purple Bay, and Sign of a Victory for the second spot. I would probably narrowly go with Sign of a Victory.
Fair enough. Personally, I think you guys would be bored of me going on about Faheen, so I'm not going to harp on about him. I will say the one thing I backed today, William Hill, who sponsored the meeting, have got a really good offer on distances bet with Faheen. It was 15-8 when I backed for 4 or more lengths. I just think that in the Christmas...
You're looking for some more hours, Luke?
for some what?
More hours.
No. So far, yeah. On the other hoof presents Luke Alder, trying to get more shifts from William Hill.
William Hill. Welcome to On the Other Hoof, sponsored by William Hill. But they're the only. they're the only bookmaker at the moment that are offering a distance as special, and I think 4 or more lengths at 15 to 8 is a very good bet. They're obviously going to find out if he really is a champion hurdle horse. We all really know he is, but they want to know set in stone that he really is a champion hurdle contender. So they won't be holding on to him on Boxing Day. It is my thought process anyway. So they'll let him go and they'll let him be as impressive as he wants to be. And obviously he's got some very good horses against him. Irving is a horse I've got a lot of time for. Sign of a Victory is again looking like a very exciting horse, but I can't see any of them. If Fahine really does go for it and is 100% fit, which apparently he was nowhere near being fit at Ascot when sluicing up in the Ascot hurdle, they wouldn't get within 4 lengths of him. I'd have Irving down to chase him home in second. He impressed me with his hurdling. He was very, very slick at Newcastle and winning the Fighting Fifth. And if there are any chinks in Fahine's jumping, then Irving would be the one to take advantage of that and really get Fahine under pressure. However, saying that, at Ascot, Fahine impressed me with his jumping when a few people knocked it last year. So Fahine to win, Irving is the boring forecast on Irving being second. But I just hope Fahine wins and wins very well. With mine to the champion hurdle later on in the season. Adam, your thoughts on the Christmas hurdle?
Fahine wins it, obviously. I will describe Ascot. It was a race course gallop, but Ruby. It was basically a teaching session for Fahine. Ruby it was a masterclass from Ruby Wald. She let him pop his hurdles. If he wanted to let him attack a hurdle, he would. And a comment that actually made me pay attention, because I thought it was impressive enough, but when Dan Skelton, who saddled up for him, because obviously he knows Ruby from when he worked at Paul Nicholls, so he was probably the only person at Ascot who could do his saddle, remarked that it's the fattest he's ever seen a horse come over for a graded race. Now, if you're going to take that and the way he's gone and won, there's so much untapped potential there. It's just so exciting and pretty scary, if I'm honest. I think the distance bet is a good one. The main bet for me, the main interest, because I think you've got some each way value in what's going to come second, because you could back Irving at 5, make profit, Sign of a Victory, if you like Purple Bay. So any of them could come second. That's the way I'm going to see it as. Because Blue Heron ran really well in the Great Wood and won a really nice novice hurdle here, beating Parlour Games, who then subsequently came out and really was impressive at Cheltenham. Sergeant Reckless, I'm surprised they've come here, actually. I thought they were going to say... Well, I think they will go back chasing, obviously, but I'm surprised they've come here rather than go for the Wayward Lad on Saturday. Sorry to butt in, but I think Mick Shannon came out and said that they wanted to have a run before the rain came and it got too soft. Actually, that's a good point. Sorry, no, you're right. It's going to rain on Saturday. Good point. That's my mistake. I thought that they were. I was like, why are they going over here? But fair enough. Sign of a Victory. He was impressed at Ascot, but I know he won on the bridle and form subsequently is working out, but you don't know how much he had left. I mean, he could easily have had £20 left, or the rise he's had could be his limit. I don't know, which makes him. I'd actually say impossible to weigh up in a way. Purple Bay could potentially even be the each way value of the race, because he looks to have really turned the corner. I mean, the win last time out was impressive, because when Irving fell, you just thought, oh, it's going to be a bunch finish, but Purple Bay actually came away from them and has been trained for this. And John Ferguson, I'll hold my hand up and I'll say that John Ferguson has improved leaps and bounds with his jumped horses this year, and he's actually having winners here, there and everywhere, and some of them are looking more consistent than they have done. And they're not all want good ground either. Some of them are even doing it on soft, heavy ground, like Chesterfield. I never thought Chesterfield would win on soft ground. Fahine wins it, but I'm actually going to put up Purple Bay to chase him home.
I did when I said Sign of a Victory, I didn't realise that Purple Bay was such a massive price. That is definitely, I agree with Adam. That's definitely each way value. Considering Irving and Purple Bay were going up to the last level as it okay, wasn't Purple Bay in receipt of weight, but I think in the same way that's quite a big price disparity for what was, I think, £6.
Probably the opposite, wasn't it? I thought Purple Bay was giving weight to Irving.
Yeah, the claim run. I think they may have. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Mike Yennis.
Mike Yennis gave him a great ride.
I thought Purple Bay was off 154, and I thought Irving was off something like 148.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'll check.
But Fahine, as Luke said, Fahine is one of a 2, 2.5 and 3, and his most impressive win for me came over 2 at Punchestown, where as we all know the story, I said he wouldn't go well over 2 miles, and
Nailed it.
yeah. So Luke was right, I was wrong for the umpteenth time.
I don't know why you're surprised about that.
Well, I was, because he couldn't jump, and now he can. So
He can. He does. At one point, I will raise about Fahine. The faster he goes, the better he jumps.
exactly.
I think that's almost a fact now after Ascot. He was in tight to a few early on in the race, and once Ruby gave him a kick in the belly, he got the second last wrong. But when Ruby really asked him up at the last, he absolutely flew it again. And I've got no qualms about his jumping whatsoever.
Just one more thing as well, Ascot. I didn't have my heart in mouth with him like I did at Cheltenham earlier on. At Ascot, it looked more professional. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
So,
Me and Callum were watching it at home, and it's just we were sitting there just more and more excited throughout the race. So it wasn't nerves throughout any of it. But Michael has gone for Sign of Victory to chase home Fahine. I've gone for Irving. Adam's gone for Purple Bay. Callum, that, my friend, leaves you with Blue Heron or Sergeant Reckless.
Cheers, lads. Thanks. Yeah, great. I mean, we've all talked about Fahine. I think as well that he's a very, very good horse and could be. Well, he's the most exciting horse in National Hunt racing at the moment for me. So I think he wins. He's clearly got the speed for 2 miles around Kempton. Who's going to chase him home? Irving will be really suited by this test, but I just don't really rate the horse yet. I don't think he's that good. You know, I want him to be more convincing in the elite hurdle than he was. I know he fell at the last and he was probably going to win, but I couldn't say for certain he was going to win. He did the job last time out at Newcastle, but again, they were his perfect conditions. I certainly wouldn't have him on my mind at all for a champion hurdle. More for this, but I don't think he's in the same parish as Fahine, and probably would rather have Sign of a Victory over him for finishing second. But Purple Bay is without doubt the value. I totally agree with what Adam said, and what I know Michael agreed as well, and probably you, Luke, as well. No, you don't like him. I can't remember.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it probably needs to be more of a stamina test than the rest for him, but. You know, he is the second highest rated horse in the race officially, and does he deserve to be 16-1 when Irving is the price he is? He certainly does not. So, yeah, I'm sure there's some without Fahine betting about, so I might have a couple of quid on Purple Bay, but I think the 15-8 on 4 lengths or more for Fahine is a brilliant bet. I really do. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's well worth a punt. Yeah.
I was very happy when I saw them odds on it, and I made a special call as I was leaving town today after doing Christmas shopping to put that bet on. We're going to move on to the feature race of the day, though, the 310 at Kempton, the William Hill King George Chase, Grade 1 over 3 miles. Silviniaco Conti obviously won this 12 months ago. He heads to the market at 5-2 for Paul Nicholls and Noel Feely. Callum, you're very keen on Silviniaco Conti tomorrow, aren't you? Tomorrow.
Yeah, if he's running tomorrow before the rest of them, then I'd be more keen. But I wouldn't say I'm like really convinced by him. I just think that he's by far the best equipped horse in the race, and I just have major doubts about every horse in the race.
I'm sorry, I just saw Michael light up at you saying he's the best equipped horse.
God's sake. He's such a child. Grow up.
Just watch the video back, and you hear Callum go, he's the best equipped horse in the race, and Michael's going,
oh, God. I've lost my train of thought. Silviniaco Conti, obviously last year's winner, comes into the race off the back of winning another Betfair Chase, and I think he'll run his race without doubt, and I think that should be good enough, because I've got major doubts about Champagne Fever. I'm worried that he's going to be racing 2-3 over this trip, which I don't think he can get away with. And he's also got £8 to find, at least for me. I just don't think he's up to this class yet. I don't have him as any sort of value at that price either, considering that I think he has to improve. Alfaroff and Manor are the two that I thought could give him most to think about the favourite. Alfaroff could be the fly in the ointment. I know he's better than what he showed last year in the race, and he came back and looked better than ever when he won the same race at Ascot that he won the year before. So I think he gets the trip, and the ground will help him in that respect. I still think it'd be a proper stamina test. That's what puts me off, and I just think Silviniaco Conti will outstay him late on. And I think it's similar for Minora, exactly what he did in the Betfair, but I think Minora will be there, be going very close. Dinas I couldn't have whatsoever. Really couldn't. I mean, he ran a worse race in the Betfair than he did last year, and ran an absolute stinker in this last year as well. I know he had excuses and he looked a better horse afterwards, but I don't think he's good enough to be winning King George's over 3 miles. I think this trip really tests him at this level, and I think 2.5, 2 mile 5 is his best trip. So I couldn't have him. Q Card, I'm really worried he's past it. Was really disappointed with his last run. I wasn't that taken by his Holden Gold Cup run either. So, and then you go into the outsiders. John Spirit, Wishful Thinking. Wishful Thinking would be a great story. I mean, he looks better than ever at the moment. He could run quite well with Barry Geraghty on board. But Silviniaco Conti, I think, will win. Minora and Alfaroff, I think, are the ones for the places. Minora probably for a forecast. I think it could be the same as the Betfair, but Silviniaco Conti, I really can't see past. And I know I've gone for another favourite, but I've spent a while on this race and can't see past him.
I've just realised that Dinast is a grey number 5.
Uh-oh.
I know
Uh-oh.
Samson Collonge is another grey number 5 on Boxing Day as well. They're the only two that I've got at the moment. But
There's a grey double for White Christmas.
I think I just backed Samson, I think.
Yeah.
White Christmas, well done, Adam. That was good. That went unappreciated then. Adam told her funny.
First and last time ever on this show.
Yeah, exactly. As in terms of the King George, Silviniaco Conti's obviously got a huge chance. I've always been of the train of thought that he's a flat track, not bully. I think that's unfair. I think he's a flat track horse. I don't think Cheltenham suits him whatsoever. I think that came to the fore last year. I think he ran a huge race to come 5th in the Gold Cup. But he won well in the Betfair, I'll say, but beating Minora, who he isn't the strongest of stayers. I think Minora will be more suited by tomorrow's task. So, of the two, if I was going to back one of them, I think I'd rather back Minora at 8-1. I mean, you can't say I've never really been a huge fan of Silviniaco Conti, but I do think he's got everything in his favour on Boxing Day. I think softish side of good is what it's described as at the moment. A flat track, I think, will work in his favour. But I do think that everything I've just listed is in Minora's favour as well. So at 8-1, I'd rather go for him. And Tom O'Brien, obviously, as we know, is a big Saturday jockey. Obviously, it's not a Saturday, but it's a big day. As me and Callum all usually allude to anyway. Of the rest, Champagne Fever, he's splitting a lot of opinions. You're either strongly for him or you're strongly against him, and I'm sort of filling in the middle ground at the moment. I'm not really sure what to expect from him. I've always thought that he'd be more of a stayer, but I don't know what they're going to adopt with running style. If they go from the front, then there's every chance that he could burn himself out returning for home, which the likes of Champion Court's done it recently. Obviously, Champagne Fever's a much better horse than Champion Court, but if you've got a genuine 2.5 mile horse, then they find it tough to get home up the long Kempton straight with obviously 3 jumps to take. It can be very stamina sapping. Q Card, I completely agree with Callum. He could just be past it. His jumping wasn't great last time out in the Betfair, and a little line for me, which could be completely unrelated, is that I'd find it hard to believe that Joe Tizard would retire if they thought that Q Card had a genuine Gold Cup chance, which it could just be reading too much into Joe Tizard retiring. It could have just been the right time for him, but it's something to possibly take into account. The rest, Dinast, I couldn't have on my mind. Alfaroff, I was really keen on last year, and he disappointed, so he's got to come back, but was very impressive last time out in the Hamlin at Ascot. One at a big price that me and Adam backed, not for big stakes, obviously, but at 50-1, we both backed Wonderful Charm, who, for a long time, I've thought that Wonderful Charm is a stayer and really needs a stamina test. He's going to get that for the first time on Saturday, and for a long time I've thought he was a top-class horse as well. But you look through his runs, and he's got outpaced at the wrong times, even at Newton Abbot when sorry, fly. Newton Abbott, he was outpaced for the last circuit, and obviously, if it wasn't for Colour Squadron being in front of him, any other horse he'd have been beaten. But it was Colour Squadron in front of him, and Colour Squadron kindly allowed Wonderful Charm to win. He then got outpaced against Don Cossack, who has proved it's no bad thing to lose to him. I think he was about 8 lengths behind. Don Cossack's gone on to win the John Durkan, which is a Grade 1 over 2.5 miles. So Wonderful Charm may have done well to finish that close. And last time out in the Peterborough, he got outpaced a long way out, and his jumping suffered because of it. So over 3 miles, I think that's going to be his absolute perfect trip, and I think Kempton will suit him down to the ground. Nick Schofield's a positive jockey booking, a fan of that. Just 50 to 1, he's far too big at that price. He might run a nothing race, but to get third in this, I don't think you're going to have to run that sort of. I think you wouldn't have to run that much above what is rated. I don't think it's the strongest of King George's personally. I know there's good horses in it, but a lot of them have question marks hanging over them. So sorry to drag on, but at a big price, Wonderful Charm at 50 to 1 is a well worth an each way shout. And Minora would be my idea of the winner at 8 to 1, so long as the rain stays away for the King George. Adam, have we spoke to you yet about the King George?
No, you've not spoke to me or Michael, and we agree on the King George, Luke, because I put Minora up for this race a year ago on the basis that his Kempton record was fantastic and he goes well fresh. Now, he ran absolutely no race, and I've written off last season completely because he has come back this year. He won the Charlie Hall, and I said, that's his race. But then in the bet there, he really surprised me at how well he travelled, and I thought he was going to win going to the second last. But I just think on that ground, I thought that Silvani Arcafonte outstayed him. I think back on a sounder surface, I know Silvani Arcafonte goes on a sounder surface, and I think he's the one to beat, but I'd rather have Minora at the prices because I think 3 miles around Kempton will be ideal for him on this ground, and he's in much better form this year. I don't see Minora winning the Gold Cup per se. You'd see him more if they did go to Cheltenham as a Ryanair contender. I don't think 3.25 around Cheltenham will be his bag. I also agree with Wonderful Charm as well. He's been crying out for 3 miles. I know he ran over 3 miles at Aintree, but he was over the top by then, and he's well worth another go at this trip. I mean, he ran well behind Wishful Thinking in the Peterborough, I thought, and I have to mention Wishful Thinking because that performance just reminded me when he was a novice chaser. Let him go out in front and just let him wing his fences. And I remember when he won at Aintree, and I thought he was a potential superstar. And if he didn't have his problems, he could have won. I think he could have even been a dual Ryanair winner. I've said it, but he's such a good horse on his day. Champagne Fever, I'm in the middle. He could either relish his 3 miles or he won't. And if he doesn't relish it, you've got the plan B of going back to the Champion Chase, I think. Because I think a flat out 2 miles around there would easily suit him, as it proved in the Arkle last year, just for Western Warhorse to come flying by with 2 strides to go. Yeah, but if he does relish the trip and he wins, then he will go for the Gold Cup, obviously. But I'm trying to think in the Willie Mullins yard at the minute. Don't say Jackadam, because I don't think he will go for the Gold Cup this year. What have they got then for the Gold Cup? Because Sir Deschamps is out. It's him, and if he doesn't stay, they haven't got a genuine Gold Cup contender, have they? So, unless they do
Austin Bob on his own.
Yeah, good point, but I don't see them as winning Gold Cup, so that's the thing. I mean,
on his own did get beaten by a short nose last year. So.
Yeah, but that was a weird Gold Cup. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting later on because we both like Lord Windermere of Alexis, and I think, yeah, it was a weird Gold Cup. Anyway, I kind of agree with you on Q Card as well. He was really disappointing in the Betfair. He didn't have that, like he did in the 2013 Betfair. He went from the front, went a good gallop. This year he was making mistakes, and that's not the Q Card I know. And it was really off-putting. You've got to respect Alfroth. I mean, they've come out, they said he had his problems last year, and the way he won the Ambling was just really impressive. And I think Ruby was kind of, if he didn't have Champagne Fever, I think he would have probably angled for the ride, because then again, he obviously got the tub, but if he was coming over to Kempton, I think he wouldn't have minded another spin on him. John Spirit, he deserves a go in this, but John Joe's at the minute, no, and I'd rather they'd waited for the spring with him, because he deserved a break. And Double Ross, I don't think gets 3 miles and isn't good enough anyway. I think I've mentioned the whole field. Oh no, Dinas, yeah. Less said the better.
Yeah, and honestly, that sums up Didas's chances, I think.
Less said the better, yeah. Minora is my idea of a main bet, and Wonderful Charm is worth a nibble each way, but Silvani Arcafonte is obviously the one to beat.
odd question that's just popped into my head, and it's probably utter garbage.
Go on then.
With the World Hurdle seemingly falling apart at the seams at the moment, with Beat That not going anywhere, does he still exist?
Probably.
I don't know where he is. More of that, having a breathing operation, could possibly be more problems. I'm speculating, don't know. Dinast was a very high class hurdler.
I think he's probably passed it over hurdles. That's me saying that. I wouldn't aim him at the world hurdle person. I can see where you're coming from, but not for me.
It could just be a case of what's left.
That's why I backed Arkander for the world hurdle. I just think he really impressed me. You'd rather Rock on Ruby, but you really impressed me on Saturday. Yeah. But it was just, I hate. Anyway,
well, before we get into that, let's hear Michael's thoughts on the King George.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I must admit, I've been away for a month. And I feel like On the Other Hoof has changed. Instead of just doing, a horse for a race or maybe another fancy, instead now we cover the whole race and everybody has about 10 minutes each. So I can see why the video length is seriously increased. I feel like I need to waffle on for about 10 minutes now, otherwise I'll feel the absent fourth member once more. But you've said pretty much all I wanted to say. My selection is Menorah at the prices. I've got both the Betfair and the Charlie Hall right. I went with Menorah in the Charlie Hall, and I thought Sylvie would be spot on for the Betfair, and I was right on that. I didn't think I can't remember who alluded to it. I think it was Luke. I didn't think I'd be going back to Menorah today, not today, in fact, in 2 days' time. But really impressive when it was just outstayed by Sylvie in the Betfair, and I don't have anything else to say. Wishful thinking, only ran once over 3 miles, but is in the form of his life. I can't really see him winning that. He was beat by Union East over 3 miles. That's his only other run on it. Wonderful Charms, simply not good enough in my opinion. John Spirit, same. Let me finish with the field. Q Card, I agree, has been really disappointing this year. Champagne Fever, I have no idea what that horse is doing. I haven't really worked it out yet. And I will actually be quite good and not speak about the others because I don't really have anything to say. So for me, it's Menorah, but I think it's a battle again. A battle royale between Sylvie and Menorah, round 3.
Fair enough. It wouldn't surprise you at all, would it? Now that is all of the Channel 4 races on Boxing Day, I believe.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them. Gonna do naps now, and are we gonna chuck all of our naps together for an On Your Hoof Lucky 15?
Can do. Is this a nap for Boxing Day or a nap for Christmas? It's just
Christmas.
Christmas nap. Okay then. Sorry that. Yeah. I don't really have a nap on Boxing Day. I'll be honest. I don't have a nap.
Right.
So I'll go with my
Adam.
Marla Beach in the Topaz Novice Chase at Leopardstown. 3 miles will suit him perfectly, and he was so impressive at Punchestown. I know he's got Don Poli in there, but I think this is his target, and he's the one to beat there.
Yeah. Callum?
I've had a few on my potential list, but I've just gone back to the obvious and Silvio Conti.
Fair enough. Michael?
No, ask me after you. I haven't found it.
Okay. I am going to Limerick for my nap. The Grade 2 Novice Chase over all but 2.5 miles. Gil Gamboa is a horse that I put up as a novice chaser to follow, and he was very impressive on his chase debut, beating a decent field. He stepped up in trip, which I think is going to be perfect for him. He looks very classy. He was also engaged against Vautour in on Boxing Day as well, actually. But he's chosen to come here instead. I think this is a much better option for him. He has got to face, however, Adriana Desmottes, who is a horse that I really like. Last time out, she ran a huge race. I can't remember who she beat. Rule the World.
That's a good novice chase, beginner's chase. I beg your pardon, because there's a couple of horses in that you take out. I took the Gordon Elliott horse out that fell. Balbir du Matin. He may run as well over Christmas, and I think if he runs at Leopardstown, depending on the field, he could be hard to beat, because I thought he jumped really well and didn't deserve what happened. I mean, he fell in the end, but yeah, he's a nice horse. So
yeah, but it's just Adriana Desmottes is the danger. Travelled all over Rule the World last time, made a bad mistake at the last, and still got up to win after sacrificing 3 lengths. But I do think that Gil Gamboa could just be a cut above, and Adriana Desmottes is still a 4-year-old, but really it's not a 4-year-old at all. It's coming to the end of her 4-year-old life. Michael, have you got an app for us now?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Knockhouse not tomorrow, on Boxing Day at Kempton,
You're making the
because
same mistake
I
I am.
haven't really decided what's running. Like, unlike you guys, I don't really know what's going on at Christmas time because I have other priorities. So
Mate,
I'm
don't sound like the cool kids.
I'm working at on New Year's Day at Cheltenham, so maybe there'll be something nice running there, but I don't know what the entries are like at the moment. I can't predict very
There
well.
isn't any
That
at
run.
the minute.
Sorry?
There isn't any at the minute. You'll get them Boxing Day or day after.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Right.
Yeah.
apologies. Right, are we going to do questions first, or are we going to get the Secret Santa out of the way
So we
first?
get Secret Santa out of the way, because then we can ask for more questions, and then we
Yeah.
can do. And then-
Okay, but while we're doing Secret Santa, last chance to get your questions in at On the Other Hoof. Any questions over the Christmas period, really? Any fantasies that you have, questions, and also very quickly, if you had any Secret Santa, if you had any of us, sorry, for Secret Santa, any of us four, then let us know what you'd get us. We've had some interesting responses. I'll give you that. Adam, you can unwrap yours first.
Okay, can I guess who I've got?
Yeah, go for it.
I think Callum.
No, it was
Oh.
me.
Oh, it was you! Oh, fair enough. I got it. Do you know what? Do you know why I thought it was Callum, right? And there's a reason why. I had it between you two. This here, Lord Adam Webular and Lord Adam Webber Cheshire. I thought that Callum and Luke had been remembered last year, and that was my way of thinking. So now I know it was Michael, and I've got a feeling I know what's in this, or something along them lines in this. So Lord Adam Webular.
So funny. I met Adam last week, and he was just I'm pretty cool.
Oh, I love that. I've got a team of
What is it?
fans. Oh, that is going straight on as well. Oh, thank you. And now
Three.
Yeah.
And now for the better present.
Oh God, I've got a horrible feeling what's in this. Like, how the hell am I going to get in this as well? Hang on a minute. Right.
I knew you got it wrong, Adam. I was being really quiet. Callum got it wrong as well. Just managed to fool everybody.
Right. This has been well wrapped as well, by the way. Oh God, what is this? Oh God. Right.
I'll probably put on some in music, like a bit of dancing. Kind of past.
Yeah, no,
You've got me a mug. I'm going to read what's on this mug. It's a Scouse thing you wouldn't understand. Cheers. I knew it was. Oh. Actually, this is a lot better than last year's, because unlike last year's, I can actually use these presents. Sorry, Luke. Actually, Barbie's still in the cupboard, so
I was going to say, you can use that present.
Well, oh, give it the dog, so the dog could destroy it.
It's not 9 o'clock. I probably shouldn't say.
Yeah, exactly.
Filthy-minded people.
Callum Medell, you're up next.
It's a significant. I wonder where it's from. I don't know where it's from. Do you know? Do you know where it's been bought?
Who do you think it is?
I'm
pretty sure I know who it is because he. Yeah. Well, it's Luke.
I told him because I got bored. I just got bored. I was like, "What do you want, mate?" Like, I don't know.
Right. Jesus.
I didn't think it would be that big.
Jesus Christ.
He's like,
Right, we'll get there. It's winning. The box is winning.
The box? Oh my God.
Yes, it's a mini tabletop football. Yes.
Oh.
I saw it on the John Lewis website. I thought that is a great addition to our house.
that is outstanding. Yes.
That is such a better present than what I got last year. The envy I've got right now is just unreal.
Sorry, Adam.
That's okay.
Michael, you're next.
I've got two, and it was labelled His Royal Highness. Thanks, Callum.
I thought that was Luke, if I'm being honest, when you said that.
No, Callum, what did I put on yours?
Dame Seema Delifax.
Dame Seema okay.
It was awkward when the guy who delivered it said, "What's your name, mate?"
I had. Well, my mum got that. Oh.
Which says keep calm and go horse racing. I got one for Callum, which was Trev last year, didn't I? So that's
yeah.
reciprocal. And then this one, which is a bit chunkier.
I know what this is.
Why the hell? Oh no! I don't even think I can look at them. I've got a pack of juggling boobs.
Oh, it's just
They're quite
God.
they're watching, aren't they?
Good job, Callum.
Right, it's time for Luke.
Unfortunately, my name is the only one that's been put sensibly on. I'm just
Yeah, I
Luke
get
Callum.
that because, well, when I did it, I wasn't sure if I had to call it. By the way, open the right. Here's what I'm gonna say. I want you to open the gift wrap present first and ignore the note that's in there because there is a note that goes with the.
There is a note.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
also
gonna
there's
lie.
a tick. Yeah.
Yeah. By gift wrap, do you mean bubble wrap?
Ignore the second one. That's the bubble wrap. Ignore that first.
Oh, okay, no, the gold one.
The gold one. Yeah, open that first. Yeah.
That's gift wrapped, Luke. Have you not heard of that before?
Hey, he's from Liverpool.
Right.
Bubble wrapped.
You're
Bubble
gonna
wrap
love this.
is a luxury there.
You're gonna love this.
Right. I got grow a girlfriend.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Thank you. I'd like to thank someone for that as well. Somebody watches the show. I mentioned I had Luke as a Secret Santa. I'd like to thank Anthony Sherratt for that idea. His girlfriend after Christmas. Thank you, Ant, for that idea.
I'd just like to read out something. The top 10 reasons you must have her. No PMS, no nagging, no more do I look fat, passing gas is encouraged, she won't run up your credit card bills, she doesn't care how much money her sweetie makes, you don't have to remember birthdays or anniversaries, she lets you have sole custody of the remote, enjoy Sunday football all day, the number one reason is she never has a headache. Right, okay.
Right. There's a ticket in there.
Oh
I've
my
got one
god!
free ticket to Trials Day.
Yeah, I asked you if you wanted that.
You did,
said
yeah, thank you
Now
very much.
this one, you've got to gift wrap, and I want you to look at the note, and you'll understand what I mean by the note when you read it.
Where's the note?
It's in the package. It might even be with. I might have even put it in the. I've wrapped it. There is a note in there. If not, I'll explain. There's a little piece of paper.
I assume that's the note here.
That's the note. Yeah.
Okay, I'll read this first, because
Yeah,
it wasn't
read
inside.
it. 'Cause it is the gift, basically.
Oh my god, this is the best present I've ever had in my... Have you actually got it?
Yes. Yes.
Actually got it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
I
Oh,
knew I'd win at life when I got this present.
oh
I'd like to thank
That
a
is-
YouTube user as well for ESP Madrid. Go follow him. He has got an amazing channel, and both presents came to £10. Believe it or not, that came to $7.50.
What is it?
Sorry, sorry, sorry,
Oh, sorry,
sorry, I have to read this out because only me and Adam get it at the moment. Like, thank you so much. This is amazing. On this DVD disc are the following: Denman winning a Challow Hurdle when all of his novice chase wins, including the RSA. Heltornik winning the Toten Novice Chase and Grand National Trial wins.
What's that link to, though? Explain the link.
Yeah, Heltara is a horse
Yeah.
that I've got a very small share in. Leg Spinner winning the Cesarovic in the 2007, which was my first ever bet. And the one race I've wanted to watch in my life more than anything in the world is one of my favourite horses, Heathcote, winning the Schweppes, or now known as the Betfair Hurdle. Adam has got it. It's on this DVD.
That's incredible.
Well, Luke put his suggestions up. Some of them I couldn't read out on air because one or two of them were pretty rude. And one of them links to one of the presents, but the number one thing it said was Heathcote winning the Shrek, so I came up with the idea of a DVD. So I'd like to thank ESP Madrid and go follow his YouTube channel because it's amazing.
That's an awesome gift.
That
Yeah,
is-
honestly.
That is the best present I've ever got, like hands down, like, genuinely.
That is such a good gift.
Can I make a point as well? I expected you to say something like that. I know it sounds big-headed, but when I brought the presents, I was like, this is a 10 out of 10 gift. So, and I'm not normally
That's
good
a
at
12
gifts.
out of 10 gift. That is
Well-
incredible. I am so happy with that. Thank you so much, mate. Like,
You're very welcome.
honestly, I'm holding back the tears right now.
Oh, you
I'm not,
mother-
but that is great present. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I'm not even going to do questions. I'm just going to go and watch it now. Right, question time. Now we've got over the elation. Kai Wills might have been first, but he's the first one I can see. Is Safir de Rua Faheen double worth putting all my Christmas vouchers on?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put all your Christmas vouchers on, and then put all your beer tokens on, my friend.
It pays 2 to 1, so that's all right.
It's fairly solid in my eyes. Simon Whittaker, in his suggestion for what he would get a panel member for this Secret Santa, he goes, suggest a bit of humble pie for Luke for mocking my vibrato Valtat advice in the Henry VIII novice chase a couple of weeks ago.
I think we all would have.
I'm still shocked.
Vibrato Valtat. Yes, he did it, but I'm not being horrible when I say this, but I'd like to see him do it again. I'm being horrible. It's just I want to see him do it again. If he does it again, I think he's a hugely talented horse as well. That's the thing. He's just a bit like Archibald in a way. But if he does it, then you've got a very, very, very good horse that you've got to share in there. Oh.
Chris Heath. Chances of Purple Bay at an outrageous price of 20 to 1 against Faheen in the Christmas hurdle with the champions aboard. We were all fairly complimentary of Purple Bay, weren't we?
Great value. Great value price.
Yeah. Joe Condren. Great show, guys. Thank you very much. Apart from the bomb-proof Faheen, who is your next best for the Christmas period? I'm liking Champagne Fever myself. We've done our naps, really. And none of them were Faheen, so that's it, basically. Safir de Rua would be mine, but price is a little bit slim. But I still think Gilgamboa is a fantastic price at Limerick. But yeah, our naps is basically what we can go on. Clement. Oh, why do I always forget how to say his second name? Eck. Clement Eck. We'll go for Clement Eck. It sounds like a proper Yorkshire name. Clement Eck says, hello, lads. Merry Christmas and to your family. Thank you, Clement. To yourself as well. Kalkir, Faheen, and Votor Trio. Which of the three can you see faltering, if any?
If there was one, I wouldn't say Faheen.
I'd say Kalkir, but only because we don't know much about him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's the I think the other two are totally bomb-proof. So, Kalkir.
Saying that, I think Kalkir will win. So.
Yeah, so do I. But and he's definitely the one. If you wanted to oppose one, it definitely have to be him.
Oh, could you put? And that sounds silly, but what about the turret? The prices? I thought 1 to 3 in a field like that. They're good horses.
I think he's just very, very good.
Who's he got to beat?
Clarkham, and I think Clarkham's really decent. Chankal's a decent prospect as well. I mean, I'm saying decent, but they're not.
But none of them are voters.
In a novice chaser, I would not want to be.
I get that.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, we'd rather do Safir de Rua, but
banging in the winners. There's only a seller, but a cooler at Market Raise in the first race. First run for trainer, only ride for a jockey, then a 2-hour dash to Huntingdon. So good luck with Akula there. Richie Stewart, thoughts on my festive each way patent. Q card at 10 to 1, Fox Rock at 8 to 1, and one in Milan at 25 to 1. Small fortune if all these win.
I agree with one in the Milan. I don't agree with Fox Rock, and the reason I don't agree with Fox Rock is I think he's slightly overrated personally. I know it's a handicap, but I don't know if he'd be suited by it. I mean, at Cheltenham, he disappointed, and I didn't think he'd been there, but I don't know. He could easily go in hack up, but I'm not a big fan of Fox Rock.
Yeah. Then he's also said another tip, did a single win on Knockhand in the 125 at Kempton. I think you mean Knockhouse then.
Yeah, Michael agrees, and Alan agrees, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Knockhouse 6 to 1. Going to relish the test and bounce back big time. Agree with that. Play to win. Off to Kempton on Boxing Day. If any of you have a bet for the day, there would be much appreciated. Double up for Heen and Safir de Rua, I think was what we just said.
Yeah. The Batmanora as well, in a single though.
Yeah. Phil Dinsdale's apologised for joining us late. He had to put the Sprouts on. The Sprouts are just the worst part of Christmas. Jeff Hanley's got a double. Comeback Colin at Market Raisin and Ballymote at Wetherby. Both Sue Smith. Best wishes and enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for watching, Jeff. Matt Wynn's gone for Faheen Sergeant Reckless forecast. Tom TJ Heasy has got us on a big screen this week. And he's put a picture up as well that I've retweeted on the Yahoo, so you can have a look at that. There's a beautiful picture of Callum Adele doing his work. He also says Alfaroff, Silmiaka Conti, Q Card Dynast, Minora on my shortlist. That's more than half the field. You guys are leaning me towards Conti and Minora. My mind is yet to be made up. Just watch our preview back again. We were pretty split between the two evenly. Richie Stewart's come back and said, I think you guys are writing off. I'm sorry, I had to work out who it was in Q Card. Q Card off too soon. His run last year sticks in my mind. I think he'll improve for better ground. He has got to improve on his last run. And the last question, or last fancy, Phil Dinsdale, really like a Vispa in the 12:30 at Wincanton and no through road in the 1:30 at Wetherby. Win double on Boxing Day. Any thoughts?
That's not a bad one, actually. I wouldn't put you off. Michael's got to say something now because I think he's got family commitments.
Yeah, I've got to go. I'm sorry.
Well, we're ending the video now. So.
But yeah, we're ending the video.
If you can wait another half a minute. If you can wait half a minute, then we can do the outro. Thank you to everyone for watching on the other. We'll be back on. When are we back?
Boxing Day. Well,
we've got Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Stay tuned on Twitter on the other hoof. Then we'll tell you on there as we work it out. Thank you to everyone for watching along this season. Thank you for tuning in to our Christmas special, spectacular, amazing marathon hedge jumping championships. We've had great fun. We had great fun doing the Secret Santa as well. Thank you to everyone that's contributed to this show. And depending on when you're watching this, have a great Christmas. Stay safe tonight if you're going out as well. And we'll see you hopefully on Boxing Day. Goodbye.